What's going on, everybody? Mike here with iSMELL. Hope this video is finding everybody well. First things first, I want to send a gigantic thank you to everybody that has, up until this point, watched my top 10 spring list video. For what it's worth, it did receive a pretty decent reception. It's doing pretty good numbers. I'm happy with the numbers that it's doing right now. But for those of y'all that haven't checked out that video, that are interested in checking it out, I will leave a marker above. But that's not what I'm here for today. That's not what y'all are here for today. What y'all are here for is to see me showcase some of my favorite green fragrances. We're gonna talk green fragrances today. What I have are 10 with 2 honorable mentions, so 12 in total. I'm gonna keep this video as streamlined as possible. Minimal amount of editing, 20 minutes or less is my goal. Let's see if we can do that, but let's get right on into it. All right, so this first fragrance that I'm gonna talk about is an honorable mention. It's a fragrance that I've been wearing since 2008. I didn't even know what a green fragrance was, but apparently I had a proclivity towards green fragrances, which in my opinion, that's what this one is. This one comes from Lacoste. The name of this one is Lacoste Essential. All right, so cassia. Those are the leaves of the black currant plant. It gives a very pungent, sharp green aroma. That's what I'll say. Fragrantica says something a little bit different, but I like the smell. Call me weird. It also has floral rose as well as pepper and then sweet tangerine, but this is a green fragrance at its core. This is a fresh, not overly citrusy. I say fresh and clean fragrance. That's how I've always described this fragrance, and I still think it is to this day. One of my favorite quote-unquote aromatic freshies with a green hue to it. Definitely one of my favorites. The color of this fragrance is accurate. One of my favorites. Again, I've been wearing it since 2008. Before I collected fragrances, this was literally my signature scent for both spring and summer. Around $35, you can pick up a bottle. Again, one of my favorites. At the honorable mention spot today from Lacoste, we have Lacoste Essential. All right, so moving on to the first official fragrance, and I did take minimal amount of notes, but I just wanted to write down the notes, the green notes, and put emphasis since this is a green fragrance video. This one was created by Alberto Morealis. I think Italian style cologne modernized in a different way. Some people might even say weird. This one comes from Gucci. The name of this one is Gucci Guilty Cologne. Rosemary, cypress. Cypress has a very distinct smell, very coniferous, and then it's gonna have juniper, which has a piney nuance in and of itself. So it's a very herbal fragrance. You take that, put citruses in the front, the citruses die down fairly quickly, and then what takes over the fragrance is this heliotrope, which is a floral note that gives it a vanillic almondy vibe. So it's it's kind of a weird smelling cologne. You get the citruses, but you also get a very herbal fragrance, but then a very almost powdery ozonic fragrance because there's also violet. And violet is going to be a key component in what will be contained. It will be an accord found in a lot of green fragrances. Again, the juice color accurately conveys what this fragrance is about. Definitely one that is going to be situational, not going to be for everybody, but if you're looking to mix it up, add a bit of variety into your collection, and want something on your shelf that doesn't smell like everything that sits at Macy's, this is definitely one worth checking out. At the number 1 spot today from Gucci, we have Gucci Guilty Cologne. All right, so moving on to the second official fragrance. And the second fragrance is going to be a 2A and a 2B. Both can be found for right around $30. Both can usually be found either online or at Burlington, which is where I picked both of these up. 2A is going to be Banana Republic's Grassland. Green apple, mint, oak moss with a lavender heart. Because it has lavender, you can expect an aromatic freshness. Think green Irish tweed, Irish spring. The color again of the bottle conveys what this fragrance is about. It's not a clone of green Irish tweed. What you're gonna get is a fresh aromatic green fragrance with musky ozonic undertones. Not the best performance, but it's a $30 fragrance, just respray. A lot of people swear by this fragrance, and I really like it. I like that it's subtle. It's a good work fragrance. It's a fragrance that I can throw on around springtime, and I know I'm not going to offend anybody. And it's also a fragrance that I have received compliments on. And again, I really do enjoy green fragrances, so it's a fragrance. Every single one of these fragrances are fragrances that I literally enjoy wearing. So yeah, at the 2A spot, we have Grassland. At the 2B spot, we have one of my favorite Banana Republic fragrances of all time, one of my favorite green fragrances of all time, and that's gonna be Vintage Green 78. Still getting used to recording around people because they always look, and it always makes me feel vulnerable, like Carrie, like, we're all gonna laugh at you. Vintage Green 78. This one here is a green tea fragrance. So green leaves, green tea, fruity fig with floral musky undertones. Perfectly unisex. I wouldn't wear it during kind of a drab, windy day like today. I'd wear it during a sunny, mild day, like shorts and polo type day. Beautiful fragrance. I absolutely love this one, you guys. I love this fragrance. So at the 2B spot for Banana Republic, Vintage Green, and then at the 2A spot, we have Grassland. Moving on to number 3, we're gonna talk about a vetiver fragrance from a house that not too many people are aware of. This one comes from Adolfo Dominguez. The name of this one is Aqua Fresca Vetiver. This is a earthy green fragrance with fruity floral undertones. It has vetiver, which I think by now most of y'all frag heads know what it smells like, and it's mixed with this rhubarb note, which is sweet but also sour. So you have vetiver that can come across as a bit sour, and then you have rhubarb, which can come across as a bit sour but also sweet and floral, even the slightest bit vegetal, and then you have neroli and then citruses. So if you enjoy Creed's original vetiver, if you enjoy Mugler's cologne, you'll like this one. If you enjoy Guerlain's vetiver, you'll like this one. Very close to Guerlain's vetiver, but I think this one's more bright with more emphasis on the neroli. Beautiful fragrance. Again, this is more of a sunny day fragrance, not a fragrance I'm gonna wear when it's cloudy like today, but a beautiful green fragrance with earthy, clean, floral undertones. We have Adolfo Dominguez Aqua Fresca Vetiver. All right, so moving on to this next one, we are at number 4. We're gonna talk about one of my favorite green fragrances in general. It just slightly makes the classification of green. I mean, the bottle's green, it's in the name, but mint is the main green note that this one has. But at its very core, this is a vanilla fragrance. This one comes from Lolita Limpica. The name of this one is Green Lover. I recommend this fragrance to everybody that I talk to. It is one that I have done a full review. If anybody's interested in checking that out, I will leave a marker above. But like I said, emphasis on mint with this one. You're gonna get a peppery mint with a orange note, and then a very prominent vanilla note, but it never gets too cloying because there is also gin. It's like an alcoholic, boozy gin note. So not like whiskey boozy, but gin. So like 3 a.m. almost. So like where the liquor is clear and it kind of just thins the other notes out. So it kind of thins that vanilla note out. It's like a creamsicle, perfectly unisex, awesome for spring weather. It wears a bit light for winter, but on the cooler days, like a day like this, for spring, when it's a little bit drab outside, a little bit windy, this is a fragrance that would work perfectly, you guys. So yeah, at the number 2, 3, 1, I think this is the number 1, 2, 3, 4 spot. We have Lolita Limpica Green Lover, and apparently I can't count. So I'm gonna put the fragrances like this because that just made things a little bit confusing for me. All right, so at the number 5 spot, we have a fragrance that I talked about in my spring video, which the next 2 fragrances will be repeats, but Here's the thing, is my channel, I can feature whatever fragrances I want, and it's spring. These are spring fragrances. These are green fragrances, and they may be fragrances that I don't get a chance to feature again for a while, so I am going to go ahead and feature them. This next one comes from Cartier. The name of this one is Roadster. Mint chocolate chip is the vibe on this one. Mint chocolate chip. You get mint, doesn't come across as toothpastey. A lot of patchouli in this one, gives it kind of almost a chocolatey vibe, and it's mixed with this labdanum, which gives it a very ambery, warm, not leathery, but warm undertone, kind of glues all the notes together. It's one of my favorite fragrances right now, one of my favorite pickups in the past 12 months. I am glad I picked this one up because a lot of people were ranting and raving about how good it was, and the hype is real. If you can find a decently priced bottle, definitely pick this one up. My wife got me this one. I don't know what holiday it was, but she's the one that bought this one. So shout out to wifey for buying this one for me. But yeah, one of my favorites. We have Cartier Roadster. All right, so at the number 6 spot, we are going to be diving into niche perfumery, the House of Parfum de Marly. It's another fragrance that I featured in my spring video. This one is green, literally has green in the name. This one goes by the name of Parfums de Marly's Greenleaf. That's what I know, is people really will stop right in front of you while you're recording to kind of see what you got going on. It's a little bit wild. So yeah, like I said, emphasis on the green apple, and I say emphasis on that because it's elevated further with this ambroxan note, and it does also have a mossy element to it. Kind of gives this one a bit of maturity, but imagine, it's gonna sound kind of hacky, but imagine a green Dior Sauvage. A very budget version of Greenlee would be Coach Green, and Coach gets compared to Dior Sauvage as well. So take that for what it's worth. I don't think it's that close. This is leagues better than Coach Green, but yeah, definitely one of my favorite fragrances. Was the fragrance I wore on my wedding day. So definitely check this one out. One of my favorite green fragrances, one of my favorite spring fragrances, and probably my favorite fragrance coming from the House of Parfums de Marly. At the number, I believe, the 6th spot today, we have Greenleaf. All right, so at the number 7 spot, we have a fragrance that kind of just started this whole green thing. It's a classic, timeless classic, refined fragrance, classic French perfumery from the House of Guerlain. We have Vetiver. So I'm gonna sound a bit weird with this one, but this is actually a fragrance I wear when I do yard work, which is so weird. It's like top 10 fragrances to wear while doing yard work. So it's like, okay. Yeah, no, I really do enjoy this fragrance. It's a timeless classic. It's refined, but simple. Ton of notes. It's old. I think it came out in the 50s, but again, at the same time, it's timeless. You're gonna get vetiver. You're gonna get neroli. You're gonna get tons of citruses. You're gonna get sage. I do believe it even has moss in it. Again, it's very similar to this one. Both of these smell similar, but in some respects, this one's even better. So yeah, definitely check this one out from Guerlain. I think it's a good base point if you're gonna be diving into the house. Some of their stuff, they are modernizing it, but yeah, don't go into it thinking that you're getting like Ideal, EDP. No, this smells a little bit older, but it is green. You do have to enjoy green fragrances to appreciate what this one is doing and have a palate for something a little bit more complex, but definitely a great fragrance from Guerlain. We have Guerlain Vetiver. All right, so the next one we're gonna be talking about is a blue fragrance that isn't blue, it's actually green. This one comes from John Varvatos. It's a fragrance that smells way past its price point. Like I said, from John Varvatos, we have Artisan Blue. This is a cheap fragrance in regards to price point. You can find this at discounters fairly cheap. If you go to a John Varvatos actually store and try to pick this one up, you're gonna pay 120. But if you go to the discounters, it's technically considered a cheapie. You can pick this one up for like $40. What you're gonna get in this one is super herbal, but ultimately it smells like fresh laundered clothes with a slight aquatic vibe, but there are no aquatic notes actually listed. Ton of herbal notes. You're getting basil, pine, palmarosa, which is a vegetal note, and yeah, then it's gonna have lavender, so super aromatic, and then you're gonna have this fruity, almost aquatic melon cucumber type note. It's a fragrance that punches well beyond its price point. One of my favorites. I don't wear this one enough, but I love everything about this fragrance. So yeah, I do believe that's the number 9 fragrance, no, 8 fragrance. At the number 8 spot, we have John Varvatos Artisan Blue, which really should be called Artisan Green. Definitely check this one out. All right, and at the number 9 spot, we're gonna have a cologne fragrance. The last 2 fragrances are actually cologne fragrances. So when you think about green fragrances, you think about fragrances like aspen, you think about fragrances like cool water, you think about fragrances on the high end like Green Irish Tweed. Green Irish Tweed seems to be the benchmark in terms of fragrances that somebody would think of if they were to pick up a green fragrance. And this one is essentially Green Irish Tweed on a budget. This one comes from Armaf. It's my first Armaf ever. This one is Très Nuit. And I knocked a pretty big dent into this one. Like I said, this one is going to be a violet fragrance at its core. Lemon verbena violet, so it's ozonic, a bit powdery, ambergy, a little bit musky. But yeah, it's going to be, think Irish Spring, think aspen, think cool water. That's kind of the vibe you're gonna get with this one. It's grassy, masculine, clean, springtime type fragrance. But yeah, it's one that I really do enjoy wearing to work. One of my favorites to wear in general. And one of my favorite Armafs. Some people think the bottle looks goofy, but I actually kind of like the bottle. Yeah, one of my favorites. I've knocked a pretty healthy dent. I don't even know if y'all can see that. But yeah, I've knocked a pretty healthy dent into this one. So that is probably the most worn Armaf. I wear this one the most out of everything that I've ever picked up from them. And I only have like 3 or 4 Armaf fragrances. I'm not like a huge Armaf fanatic. But yeah, definitely check that one out at the number 9 spot. And then last but not least, I didn't save the best for last. None of these were in any particular order. This one right here is one that was sent to me. I had probably less than 100 subs at the time. I got sent this one from Sammy Andreas. Little did I know how much I was going to enjoy this one. This one goes by the name of Green Sapphire. And so for those of y'all that aren't aware, this one is a damn good clone of Bond number 9, Bleecker Street. So good, I could not tell the difference. I did a side-by-side comparison. I'll leave a marker for that above as well. But yeah, I couldn't tell the difference between them two. Luckily, the notes for Sammy Andreas' fragrances are right on the back, so kind of takes the guesswork out of that. But this one has blueberry, oak moss, suede, cedar, cinnamon, cassis. Another fragrance I talked about contained cassis. So apparently it is a note that I really do enjoy. And then you get patchouli. This is a green fragrance, smells very green, highly synthetic, but not in a bad way. You're gonna get that fruity blueberry, and then you're gonna get that spicy cinnamon and suede in the base. I like how fragrances use suede and caramel. I do believe Bond number 9's Bleecker Street does contain caramel. I like when fragrances use suede and caramel as the base notes instead of like a generic amberwood type note. But definitely one of my favorites. You can see from the juice level that it is a fragrance that I enjoy wearing. One of my favorites. It's a fragrance that I would repurchase from him. Hands down, I would spend my own money for this fragrance, but he did send me this one for free. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are ultimately 12 fragrances. Every single one of these are awesome green fragrances you should get your nose on. As always, leave a comment below. Let me know which fragrance you want to get your nose on, I will send you a 5 milliliter decant free of charge, just my way of saying thank you for checking out the entire video. And while you're down there, go ahead and sub. It literally costs you nothing. I would certainly appreciate it. I will live stream here in about a week. Same theme, green fragrances, but pretty loosely themed type of live stream. Everybody's welcome over on my side. But until then, till next time, y'all take care. Good luck on this giveaway, you guys. All right, I really appreciate you watching the full video. All right, later.